Hi, and welcome to Pod Destroyer episode 6 with me, Metalmance, and as always, Beardodoom. How are you doing, Beardo?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Good morning.
It's a very early morning for us because we are joined by two brilliant guests, Nick and Stace from Blindfolded and Led to the Woods. How are you guys?
Hello, I'm good.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolute
And
pleasure.
it's the evening in New Zealand, so we've managed to make
Future.
the time zones work. So this is going to be a bit of a bumper episode where we, well, we invited the guys on because, a spoiler alert, Blindfolded's most recent album, The Hardest Thing About Being God Is That No One Believes Me, has been added to both of mine and Beardo's end of year lists for album of the year.
Our
Um,
extensive end of year lists. So yeah. Well,
yeah.
well done getting in there.
Thank you.
Um, but also the guys have just finished an American tour and released their album in the autumn. So what a perfect opportunity to kind of have one big chat about it all, and then Nick and Stacey will also be sharing their favorite albums of the year as well. So I feel like let's get this started. What shall we tackle first? But so Nick and Stace, it's been what, a month now since you've completed your American tour. If people listen to our podcast, also following YouTube, they'll see that you've had like a daily vlog of the tour and your mini documentary at the end. But that tour was a long time coming. I don't know if you want to touch upon that at all, or are we just kind of happy to kind of chat about the tour?
No, we can talk about it. I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, it's basically 2 years from when we first got asked to tour the States to actually completing the tour. So yeah, lots of admin and visa applications, and then going to like the US embassy for interviews, and then having one tour fall through because our visas didn't get approved in time, and then booking another tour, but then it had to be before our visas expired. So it was all, yeah, it was all quite chaos for a while there. Quite a few late nights, and to communicate with people on the other side of the world. But yeah, when it sort of finally came together, obviously very last minute. I think we can talk about this a little bit more in depth later if you want. But like, I don't think we really wanted to do a headline tour for our first tour in the US, but it just kind of worked out that way with the visas. That was pretty much the only option to do. But yeah, there it's kind of crazy now because for me personally, I've spent the last 2 years of my life trying to like organize this and put it together. So to be sitting here after the fact, it's pretty surreal and almost feel a little bit purposeless because I've got nothing to do currently.
We could
Yeah,
be
Nick
you could be
really had it all
organising
together.
you could be organising the UK tour next.
Yeah. Maybe yeah, give me a few weeks off, and then we'll start looking into that. At least we won't need visas for, well, actually I think we will now for the UK, but not for the rest of Europe. But
Yeah,
yeah.
we're a special case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
no,
So
Nick. Sorry, I was going to say, yeah, Nick definitely is the one to have a chat about the organisation of the tour. Like he's the one that spent countless like sleepless nights toiling over it, while I slept quite comfortably at home. So yeah.
I suppose on tour as well, Stace, you just carry a microphone as well. So
I mean, I'm not sure if that's entirely the case, but yeah, no, it definitely seems on the surface like the vocalists have got the easier job. I'm not a drummer with like 14 bags though as well, so yeah,
What's the
swings
what's
and
the
roundabouts.
logistics of getting all of your equipment over from New Zealand to the US? Like that must be a heck of a
Well,
sort
first of
of
all,
job to do.
we had to insure it. That was that was
Mm.
first and foremost because it's a lot of gear we took over. And like even our sound guy Marcus, who we brought along, like he had a lot of gear and microphones and the in-ear monitors, and like he had all of his gear that we had to take. So we bought, what are they called, Nick? Pelican cases or something?
Yeah, yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah, those sort of like really heavy duty traveling plastic cases that clip, and they've got all the molded foam and everything, and
Mm.
like you can customize them so you can put all your gear in. And so we had to do all of that for all the expensive gear. And yeah, we bought all the extra luggage, and we just shared it evenly across us when we went over.
What's the what was the transport getting you from venue to venue in the US? Were you in the back of a van, or did you manage to get yourself a fairly decent ride?
So we looked at options. There was a couple of options available to us. One was that we could get an RV with bunks in the back
Mm.
and like sleep while we go, sort of thing. And the other option was, and those are really expensive to hire, by the way. The other option was that we get sort of like a Ford Transit van style van with 10 or so seats in it and space in the back, and then just drive everywhere and stay in motels afterwards.
Mm.
And that's the option that we chose to go with, being that you get much more restful sleep, I think, if you're in one spot and not moving around, going
Sure.
over potholes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But also, Nick might be able to confirm this or not, but I think it may have even worked out slightly cheaper for us to hire the van and do the motels rather than hiring the RV out. Is that correct, Nick?
Yeah, I think so. And there was some like when we were originally going to go the year before, the RV it was like similar price, but then I don't know if it was just time of year, but RV prices were just like way more expensive. So we went with the cheap option, given the financial outlay of the tour before we even get on the ground in the US. So yeah,
And the
just
motel comes with a bathroom and a shower, which,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to be
It's always a
sharing a
plus.
RV shower. Yeah.
That's almost high living, isn't it? In a
Yeah.
motel when, was it your first sort of international tour, I would call it, first time away from New Zealand, or have you done other kind of outside New
I mean,
Zealand in terms of tours?
I don't know if it counts, but we've played in Australia about 3 times, I think.
Mm.
Twice on tours, and then once just to go over and play a festival. And we added another show the night before in Melbourne. So, yeah, we've been over to Australia a few times, but nowhere else. So it was sort of like a big breakout moment, I guess, touring the States. Yeah,
Yeah, and a real learning curve as well. And also seeing how you
huge.
guys are touring together. So, very pleased to see there are no fallouts, or there were no fallouts on the vlogs at least.
Yeah,
But what was it like?
we had to
Oh,
edit those
you go
ones
ahead.
out. Yeah. we,
Yeah.
we no, no, it was all good. I mean, like, I think when you have 6 people traveling in close proximity and living in close proximity, and there's no escape, like, there's inevitably going to be conflict, and it just, I mean, Stace, Stu, and I particularly have been friends for like 20 years, so it's kind of we're at a point where we can pretty just if something's not right, we just bring it up, and we talk about it. So
Mm.
yeah, but luckily we didn't have too much at all. Like it was just minor things, and yeah, it was all good.
And what was it like touring with Volcandra? Because are they label mates of yours? Are they also on prosthetic?
Yeah, they're on prosthetic. Yeah, they were. I sort of checked out their most recent album before we toured with them, the Way of Ancients, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I was digging it, and then, man, just seeing them play basically the same set every night for 20 nights, I was just like, holy shit, these guys are so good.
Yeah.
So many like catchy riffs, and like cover quite a few styles as well. Like they got melodic death metal in there, bit of thrash, a bit of black metal kind of stuff. So it was really cool, and they were just the loveliest guys. Like when you fly 12,000 k's to another country to tour with a band for a month that you've never met before, there's always like a bit of anxiety around.
Yeah.
Like, are you guys going to get along? But man, like, yeah, within a day or two, we were just best mates and teaching each other slang, and doing just hanging out, and it was awesome. I think the only sort of downside is that because it's so like quick and you're going from place to place, like while we hung out at the venues, we never really hung out outside of like on our days off, like we always ended up in sort of different places, so we never sort of got to just hang out without a gig kind of thing. So that was probably the only downside. But yeah, we're kind of in talks about trying to get them out to New Zealand. So because the visa cost for us to go to the US. So just for 6 New Zealanders to apply, not to actually get the visas, but to apply for the visas was 22,000 New Zealand dollars, which is probably what, like £10,000 maybe. So pretty wild. But for them to come to New Zealand, it's like $300 for all for all 5 of them. So it's pretty
Oh.
it's much easier for them to come to us.
Oh my goodness. So I enjoyed on your vlogs when you on your little days off, your little Twin Peaks detour
Oh yeah,
and your various other detours. What was the highlight or highlights of the tour for you guys?
I've sort of thought about this a little bit just because in the last week or two I've sort of finally caught up with family that I haven't seen since I've been back, just because I've been busy and stuff. And the one I actually keep coming back to is driving through the Rocky Mountains at twilight. And Stace was actually driving at the time, and I was sitting in the front, and I was just like, it was like one of those weird times where you sort of don't really notice at the time, but the whole van was silent for a little bit, just because like everyone was looking out the window, like just like amazed at the scale of what we were driving through. And yeah, and I'm from New Zealand. I'm very thankful to live in a beautiful country. But that was just like nothing that I've ever seen before, and nothing like we've got here. So that was, yeah, that's probably my favorite moment, and it was also like exacerbated by the fact the next day we drove through 6 hours of cornfields, which was boring as fuck. So
I just love the juxtaposition of that though. It's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, the highlight of my tour was a really quiet, silent, tranquil moment compared to like the loud craziness of like the shows every night. What about you,
it's
Stace?
yeah.
Oh, there you go on, Nick.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Stace can go.
Highlights for me. I mean, I've got so many. I took quite a lot out of the tour. And I mean, first of all, a life dream unlocked. When I was 23, I was 23 when we sort of got the band together, and the band sort of was created out of the dissolution of another band that Stu used to be in, called Sacrament, and that band sort of like came to its natural conclusion, and then he was looking to start a new thing, and they asked me if I wanted to jump on board, and Tim, our old drummer, was involved, and Nick wasn't in the picture then, but we sort of came up with the band name, and we got our first show down. Nick joined the band. That's like a really, really brief history of sort of how the band started. But I was 23, and we dreamed of playing big tours around the world. We dreamed of getting overseas and playing to crowds of people that we'd never met before, that maybe spoke a different language or a different accent, and of course the States, like that's where so much death metal comes from. And it always seemed, I guess, out of reach for me, to be honest, because I got into a little bit of trouble when I was 18, and that trouble may have prevented me from ever going to the United States. And thankfully, as part of the process of us applying, like that all had to get exposed and then, talked about, and eventually we got it through the line. So like even just getting to the States and for the purpose of playing music, for me was a highlight. That was like I'd fucking cracked it. We fucking finally did it. And then from there, like the shows were great, the scenery was mostly great, and the people were also welcoming and lovely, and nothing like what the media portrays America is like at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've found that when you been to America like 3 times now, and I have found that it's nothing like it's projected. So it's just normal people just getting on with their lives as it is everywhere else.
We ran into almost zero of the politics, and I don't know if you guys want to get into that at all, but like just as a brief statement, like our media here in New Zealand loves to project a narrative of what's going on in the States, and It was nothing like that at all.
Mm.
So that was again another highlight. And my last little highlight that I'll mention is going to the Sphere in Las Vegas. The
Okay,
Sphere
yeah,
in Las
yeah,
Vegas, dude, fucking mind blowing. It was incredible. Yeah,
yeah,
you have
yeah.
to go if you can. Yeah,
What did you get to experience there
I
at the
saw the
Sphere?
Wizard of Oz.
Oh, you did go see the Wizard of Oz, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've seen a few bits of footage of that, and it just seems like yeah, just something completely unreal, isn't it?
It's completely and utterly fucking unreal.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah,
never
yeah,
seen anything like it. Yeah.
yeah. There needs to be some more band residencies in the Sphere, I think. They started off with
You're
you
better than
two,
you
didn't they?
too.
But
And then they've had the Backstreet Boys as well.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Backstreet Boys.
I think
Yeah,
of a metal band of a size that would be able to one afford to play the Sphere and get it booked in would probably be Metallica, wouldn't it?
Mm.
oh fuck yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Cannibal Corpse there. I think
Yeah,
like
sure,
with a
sure.
screen
Yeah,
that big,
yeah,
like the visuals that you could put on that
yeah,
screen would
yeah,
be
yeah,
Just the
yeah.
yeah.
neck would just fill the sphere.
I mean, two weeks ago, Stace and I went up to Auckland to see Tool, and
Mm.
Tool at the Sphere I think would be sick because they would make the
Oh fuck yeah.
visuals like the visuals were insane at a 12,000 seat arena in Auckland. So
Yeah,
imagine what they
yeah,
could do at the Sphere, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys come across any? So did you sort of have that experience of both sides of America, the kind of, you know, the sort of backwater type venues and the city venues as well? Like I've always something that always sort of fascinates me about you know, gigs and tours, I guess, in the US, even compared to the UK. Like we can get anywhere in the UK by train, by public transport, you know, super simple. We don't really have venues that just parking lots in, you know, at the back of like a Denny's or whatever over here. It's not a thing. Did you guys get to experience that side of you know of playing shows in the US? What were your favorite venues that you played whilst you were over there?
I think I will say that most venues in the that we played are like pretty well set up for bands. Like there's all most of the venues we had, there were like designated parking for like, you know, band vans to load and stuff, which is something that we just don't have in New Zealand. Like
Yeah, we
you're
don't
lucky
have
Yeah,
it in
to,
the
we wouldn't have that
UK.
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that was kind of cool. And I would say most of the time, like the whoever the contact person at the venue was pretty pretty onto it, pretty welcoming, and making sure everything ran pretty smooth. I think the big difference for me is just in New Zealand and Australia, like quite often it's like the headliner band that will book the gig, right? So they're essentially the promoter, um, and so it's up to them to promote the show and you know make sure people come to the show and there's ticket sales and stuff. But in America, it works slightly different. Like, so we booked the whole tour through a booking agent, and then every single venue has their own in-house promotion.
Mm,
So it's kind of a little bit different. And without sort of talking shit about certain venues, some venues just obviously hadn't promoted the show that well. You know,
mm,
like, so there was, you know, there were a couple of like low turnouts, you know, which was, I mean, we kind of expected it anyway, a little bit from time to time, just because, you know, we're a pretty small band still, and you know we don't even know how many people know us, and you know in the middle of nowhere in the US. So that was kind of an adjustment, I think too. But then there were the venues that promoted it really well, like had great turnouts, and you know like so many venues were really awesome. Substation in Seattle was one of my favorites. Reggie's in Chicago, and the Underground Music Cafe in Minneapolis, which was a very small stage, but so we ended up sort of like half of us on stage and half us on the floor, um,
they're
which
fun shows,
made
though. I
for
think. Yeah.
oh, dude, it was like now I came before Blindfolded, I was in like the hardcore and punk scene here in Christchurch, and like I was so used to doing floor shows back then that was like my bread and butter. So to sort of have that little throwback, that was it was really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, Chicago is quite prominent in your vlogs. You
Yeah,
you guys just seem to have a really great time, just
well, we
even
had a
like
day.
outside venues, in venues.
Yeah, we had a day off there the next day as well. So yeah, there was obviously quite a lot of vlog footage made that up, and there was sort of one of the days off we'd pinpointed that one of Stace's things he wanted to do was go to the Field Museum to see Sue the T-Rex there. So yeah, Chicago was awesome. Would have loved like a lot of the places. Would have loved another day or two there, to explore. But yeah, Chicago was a vibe for sure. Like it was when I was a kid, like Chicago was always like one of my favorite cities. I don't even know why. Like I was actually talking to my parents about it, and my dad reckons it's because I liked the architecture, but I was like 8. How did I know what the frick the architecture was going on? Like,
Did
like,
you get to Willis Tower whilst you were out there in Chicago?
nah,
I,
we
I
saw it, but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I did. There's a picture of me standing in a glass box that hangs off the side
Oh wow.
of the tower. What
I've
else?
seen it. I've seen the box. Yeah.
It was funny. It was kind of funny because I don't think I'm naturally worried about heights, but there were kids just kind of running on off of it as if they were on the ground floor, and all of the adults are like, "Oh, I don't like this." It's it's a
Yeah.
funny one. So yeah, Chicago's a cool town. It's a good time there.
And I
Yeah.
haven't been to America, so I can't contribute.
Yeah. The other place that was just well, two other places that spring to mind were Portland, and kind of like what Stace mentioned about sort of we almost had this certain narrative that we were expecting to walk into in Portland, and it was not really like that at all. I mean, it did have a pretty horrendous like homelessness problem. But apart from that, like that city was beautiful, man. I just it was yeah, very nice. And then the other place that I really vibed was Santa Fe in New Mexico, which is the architecture there actually was like nothing else in the States because it's all that sort of like clay rounded houses and kind of thing. And it was just, I guess it's in the middle of the desert almost. So that was really cool vibe. And the venue we played there actually had New Zealand hopped brews on tap. So that was cool.
I've been at home.
A nice,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
nice taste of home. So, how was the kind of crowd reaction at your shows?
It was great. To be honest, like we had people from every walk of life come along, and they all were interested. They all loved the fact that we'd come so far. Many of them loved saying, "These guys have come all the way from fucking New Zealand, man." And uh, we just felt welcomed. We felt like everyone was really stoked on us being there. And then for the ones that were familiar with us already and knew our music, I think for them to see the live context or the live element of what we do, I think popped off as well. Like we had nothing but great feedback on that, and so many people came and brought their records, their vinyl CDs, T-shirts, and stuff, and they wanted us to sign them and things like that. And it's just like, that I don't take that lightly. Like that's a really special thing to be able to be on the other side of that exchange there, because I've been on that their side so many times before where I've gone to see a band that I love so much, and I wanted them to sign the record that I bought or something like that. And it was really really cool, I think, to play the other side of that and to take it seriously and and give them the time of day on it. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. So, how has
Yeah.
the new album been received? Because how long has it been out now? A couple of months?
Yeah, two
Did it?
months.
October 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't it got released just as you were about to go out to America?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
our first show.
Yeah.
LA
It's
was our
very,
first
very
show. That
much
was
the
the
plan.
release date. Mm.
Oh, amazing. But yeah, so what is it? Fourth, fifth album? Fourth, fifth,
Fifth.
Fifth
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
fifth album, and
Mm.
it's brilliant. But
Thanks.
for those who are listening who don't know, it's a concept album. Stace, I don't know if you want to kind of elaborate on that a bit more. Your first concept album. Is that Tool influencer?
Please cut in like if I'm starting to waffle a bit here, but basically, uh, I, like in the past, Stu and I have shared the lyrics,
Mm.
and because he likes writing lyrics, and he's generally always had some sort of backing vocal, contribution to the records as well. Um, I have had little feelings in the past about like, well, if I'm singing his lyrics, like, the conviction that I'm supposed to have in these lyrics can sometimes be a little bit confusing for me because I didn't write them and I might not know exactly what he's trying to convey. So I second guess myself, and, that sort of thing can happen. And so this time on this album, I was like, I really want to just take hold of the lyrics and make it my own, and then have the conviction that comes with every word that I wrote. And so
Mm.
I got thinking about what kind of thing that I wanted to express in this album. What is it? In the past, we've sung about things like loss and struggling and mental health and all sorts of things that we've covered. And the further back you go into our back catalogue, the more absurd and silly it gets. But we won't bring that up. But on this record, I thought, well, why don't I try and tell a story, and that every song be just like a snapshot part of that story. And the story that I wanted to tell was um, loosely based on the Bjork Stalker. Do you know who the Bjork Stalker is?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah, you do. All right. So the Bjork Stalker, for those that aren't familiar, was this guy and I'm not sure if I'll get all the details correct, but he was obsessed with Bjork, and he was making these like vlogs. He was like filming himself over the course of like a year, and as his obsession with Bjork deepened, his mental health like took a sharp decline, and the vlogs like sort of document his decline in mental health. And in the end, like he's been writing letters to Bjork, she ain't fucking responding, and so he decides that he wants to fucking kill her pretty much, and so he like creates a bomb and sends it to Bjork. And then he's at home and he's like, by this time, he's like shaved his hair and he's painted his nipples and his face and shit. And he's like gone fucking mental. And he puts on his favorite Bjork song, and then he puts this like, what do you call it? Like a canvas, like a painting canvas behind his head. And it says "the best of me" like written on it in blood, I think maybe. And then like he's listened to his favorite song, he sent the bomb out, and then when his song concludes, he just pulls out this revolver and like bang, fucking
Holy
hoping like
cow.
sprays back of his head like on this painting. And but it doesn't quite happen like that. You just sort of hear the bang and he falls over it, and then you can just hear liquid from the video key. You can just hear liquid pouring, and it's fucking gross. And I really, really don't recommend that you watch the video. um, However,
Noted.
what caught my eye, or like sort of what caught me about that whole thing, was how someone's obsession can go up like this as their mental health like goes down. And that was the sort of idea that I wanted to capture in the lyrics of this album. So I came up with the story of a protagonist who meets a woman at a cafe, and falls pretty much head over heels with them. Like one meeting and the damage is done. Like this woman becomes like the center point of an obsession, and it's all written in the style of like a poetic. It's like written in the style of poetry, really descriptive poetry, and that was another thing that I wanted to do, because that's like a little muscle of mine I like to stretch every now and again, is like descriptive sort of creative writing. So I wanted to add that into it as well. And so this person like falls in love with the woman, and then is ultimately rejected by them because they're married. And they're married to a man, and the protagonist loses the fucking plot and becomes seethingly angry, and then starts behaving in like shitty ways, like looking through the window at their house, and getting really angry when the husband's like starts taking off her top and undoing her bra and things, and ultimately the protagonist ends up inside the house, like hovering over this woman while they're sleeping, and like taking in all of the room, and like end up getting off like in her bedroom and stuff, while she sleeps, and ultimately she's taken captive by the protagonist and taken out to the woods, and like her husband's been killed, and all that sort of thing. And then like in the last song in track 10, there is sort of like you find out that the protagonist has been a woman the entire time as well, and and then you realize that the entire lyrics have sort of been written in a way that protects the gender identity of the protagonist. But there's a few little hints right throughout, and I'll tell you them. Sort of at the end of track one of the vocals, you'll hear panting at the end, and it's a woman panting, not a man. And there's another lyric where it talks about my hand is a desperate actress, and I intentionally chose the word actress as opposed to actor, and then in the last song, when we transition into Hera, who's like this Icelandic singer that we got to sing the last half of that song, like the lyrics sort of talk about our femininity will unfurl, and it sort of exposes the fact that she's been a woman the whole time. And the reason I chose to do that was just because I wanted it to be a bit different to the casual trope of, men committing violence against people always. And I wanted to get away from all of that blood, guts, gore, rape, and pillage stuff and make it more interesting with the poetic writing, and just wanted to feel inspired by the Bjork Stalker at the same time as, doing my own creative thing. So that's how I ended up with what I ended up with.
That was amazing. I must admit, I feel like a terrible fan now because I completely missed that the protagonist is female. And that's just blown my mind.
Now that you have that knowledge, go back and listen to it.
I'm going to, because I think that's really changed my I guess lyrical view and theming of the album, actually, because from a end of year, it's great metal, and that is why it's up there in my in my end of year list. But it's that explanation has really changed the dynamic of the album for me already, and I'm like, I need to go and listen to it again.
It's that
and read the lyrics
fine.
with
it. Yeah.
I'll listen to it again.
I will just say that the album title, like, the hardest thing about being God is that no one believes me, like that there plays into the God complex that is created in this person as they become more and more obsessed, and as their mental health declines, they start feeling like they're the one in control of everything, and that's where the title comes from. It's not meant to be some sort of anti-religious quip that a band might normally have.
But also, like, if we're talking about it literally, like, there's all that all the conversation, oh, God's a woman. No, of course God isn't a woman. And then that spins on that as well. But hearing you talk about the narrative, it's so similar to your video for Compulsion. And
yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I really enjoy that video because I think I don't really watch music videos anymore because I don't know. I think growing up in the 90s, and every music video had a narrative or a story, like even just like pop videos. And I know budgets and schedules and everything can't always happen, but it's so awesome to see an actual story on a music video. But now, I'm definitely going to listen. Well, I'll be listening to it again anyway, but I'll definitely be listening to it again.
And how did the guest spot with Hera come about? Is there a story behind that?
I'm going to jump in and say I remember talking to Nick and Stace about this when me and Carl were in New Zealand. Because when we were in that pub and you were like, oh, we want to get a female vocalist. And you were knocking around some names. And there was one person he mentioned. And we were like, no, don't ask her because she's just appeared on a big metal album. And you're like, oh, really? So we were like knocking around some names. So then when you kind of announced the album and like the guest vocals, I was like, oh, I'm so pleased they found someone.
Oh yeah. So Hera's she's Icelandic, but she's lived in Christchurch for many years, maybe even I'm not sure how long. But we've sort of been in some adjacent circles musically. Like she was aware of us, and we're obviously aware of her. I've got some close friends that are very good friends with her. And I sort of reached out to a friend of mine, and I just said, "Oh, we've got the song, and we're looking for like a female vocal, and I thought Hera might be an option." So she put me in touch with her. Stace, her, and I met up for a beer, and we just sort of talked about it. Like we'd sent her the song or the demo previously, and sort of like we had the lyrics, but we sort of gave her free reign, sort of in terms of like the melody. Like we had a couple of like rough ideas, one of which was used, but like she sort of had free reign to do what she wanted with the lyrics. And there's some really awesome behind the scenes footage that I should probably edit together at some point, because yeah, we just went up to our friend Alex's studio, and he's got this like vocal booth in like a shed at the back of his property. But it sounded like she was tracking it, and it was like it was giving me chills when she was trying like different sort of inflections and cadences and stuff, and it was just like, oh damn, like this is awesome. And it was really cool because only Stace and I were there when she tracked it. So when we got the vocals and like got the first mix back, it was like the first time the other guys had even heard what she did. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about. And yeah, quite a few reviews have like singled out her performance, which is really cool. And I think it's kind of, I mean, we wanted to do something different. Like we try to do something different every album, and I thought that was like, yeah, definitely a curveball, and very, very glad it came together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, uh, Stace, what you're saying about how you kind of had full reign of writing the lyrics this time. Um, how did that translate on stage? Did you find that the songs from the new album you kind of got into a bit more? Or how did Stu feel about not having any input this time around?
Well, I mean, I'll answer the second half of that question
Yeah.
first. Like, Stu writes the music for the band. Like, he
Mm,
writes all the songs, and then we'll send them out to us. And then,
mm,
Nick will change the bass line to make it something, cooler, because that's his instrument. And, the drums will be changed slightly because our coder will change them to something that he likes to do. But Stu writes the music. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he's done enough. So, if I want to do the lyrics, then yeah, I'll do the lyrics, and I'll put everything into it, and I think it's worked out well. Stu plays in other bands as well, so I think he's
yeah.
got lots of creative outlets for himself, and I think he was quite supportive of me to take hold and come up with this concept story. Yeah.
I think it was important, probably important to note as well, that when we were tracking the vocals and stuff, like Stu and I were there pretty much every session. So like
Yeah.
we did have input in terms of like placement of phrasing, that kind of stuff, if we thought something, which is kind of weird because normally in the past we've relied on other people to produce that side of things, but this time we did it. So it was kind of, sometimes we'd do a bit and we'd be like, oh, that's sick, and then Dan would put together a mix of it and send it back, and then the next day we're like, oh, actually, maybe we should do it like this, So there was definitely lots of back and forth, because I think also that what was a little bit different this time around is, we sort of Stace had written the whole story before we even knew what song was going where. So we actually had to decide on the track order musically before we even started recording the vocals, because we had to make sure the story was told in order and how to make it work. So this album was very much fitting the words to the music, rather than like Stace in the past has written the lyrics to the song. So this was definitely a bit of a different process. So there was a little bit of fine tuning and editing as we went along.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely cool though. Like I love being able to do the vocals with Stu and Nick, because they've got a really good eye for like the rhythm of how vocals should fit across different sections. And I'll come up with the voices, and I'll make it brutal as fuck, and I'll do whatever I need to do. But when it comes to choosing like where we're going to put it to make it sound good, or maybe to like add like a syncopation against the music or something like that, then I think that those guys are really, really good for that. So I'm always grateful to have their input on that. So, I mean, yeah, Stu didn't write the lyrics per se on this record, but he was just as involved as pretty much me in the vocals anyway. So, yeah.
I
Amazing.
always think there's something more gnarly about bands from your neck of the woods, like Australia, New Zealand. Like, what is it about the metal scene that down that way that just produces this just much gnarlier sound than we get over here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I might have an opinion on it, but it might be wrong.
Well, what is
But
your
I don't know.
opinion? There's no wrong opinion. So,
Well, when I was growing up as a teenager in town, like we had a really, like I'll call it healthy metal scene. There was a lot of bands going around, and they were all into this brutal, tough, extreme music, and so that's what I used to look up to as a teenager. And those guys, like, I mean, some of them were kind of toxic people. Like they weren't
mm,
really good people to look up to, if you know what I mean. And
mhm,
as I grew up and sort of joined my own band and became part of that scene, like I wanted to be, I guess, a part of a better culture, but still with the same brutal, extreme music. And so I've always been attracted to that type of music, probably because of our isolation here. Like we're in a small little island at the bottom of the world, and things are extreme here. The weather's extreme, the land is extreme, the music can be extreme too.
mm,
And I
mm.
didn't shy away from any of it. So getting to like grow up in that sort of scene and wanting to leave it in a better place than I found it. Um, I don't know. It's been fun pushing that type of music as well. Like I love the fact that we do extreme shit that's fucking heavy and
Yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah.
difficult to sit with. It's not easy listening. And I enjoy that challenge. That's what I like about music. That's like that. That's either technical or brutal or whatever. I like that challenge because it's asking something of me that I've got to give my attention to. It's
Mm.
not just something I'm putting on in the background while I'm sort of chopping up my veggies for dinner. It's something that it commands your attention, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Are there any New Zealand metal bands that are sort of bubbling under that we should be keeping an eye on?
Uh, yeah, man. There's lots of decent bands over here. Probably like one from Christchurch that's definitely bubbling up, but funnily enough, has actually ventured further away than we have, which is Utilize the Remains.
See
And
them.
Nick, yeah, Nick,
They played my town.
yeah, yeah. So Nick flats with Dan from Utilize the Remains, and they on a very small chance like ended up playing over at what was it, Obscene Extreme,
Yeah, Sadie
Nick?
Stream. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they built a tour around that festival signing. And it's like these guys haven't been around for too long in New Zealand, but then bam, they're off overseas, like playing these big shows. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely check them out. It's like brutal slamming music, and all the guys in the band are excellent dudes as well.
Yeah,
Nice,
I
yeah.
just can't believe they played my town. And I remember messaging Nick and being like, "Oh, there's a band from New Zealand played in my town." And you were like, "Yeah, they're our friends." I was like, "Of course they are." But yeah, they're
Not
so
only that, there's
brutal.
the flatmate. Yeah,
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 yeah.
so brutal. But it's
yeah,
interesting you were saying about how like the headliners in New Zealand and Australia are the ones that promote the shows.
mm,
And that kind of makes sense now, like on your social media, how much like your shows are really pushed and
mm,
you promote other bands' tours and other shows as well, which I think is really nice because over in the UK we have booking agents, and the
mm,
venue promoters are the ones that promote the shows. So I've learnt something today. So
Mm.
yeah.
that's really interesting. So that must really play into the whole scene as well, how you kind of promote each other's stuff and kind of help each other out. Yeah, I just found that really interesting.
I will just clarify, like there are promoters like in New
Mm.
Zealand, like Ben from Valhalla, and who like he brings most of the international bands through. So like they still do it, but the same kind of thing. Like the venue, basically, you just hire the venue, and then
Mm.
like the venues don't have like in-house promotion teams like they do
Promotional,
elsewhere.
yeah.
It seems, yeah,
I think probably it's a geographical thing, right? So
yeah, it's got to
Mm.
be.
in New Zealand, like if you're promoting a tour of say 4 shows, Dunedin, Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland, like you can manage promoting in 4 cities. You could do a poster run, or you could do like Facebook ads or YouTube ads or whatever, and you can manage that. But if you're doing 30 shows in the United States as a promoter, you can't really have your finger on the pulse in each of those cities. I think it
Mm.
makes sense that you would have the venues take on that job, and then the venues have a vested interest in wanting that show to be successful if they want to make any money. So they would logically put some promotion in behind it. But I think what Nick was saying before is that we just ran into so much varying levels of effort, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Some
Hmm.
shows put in no effort, and then like a town like Santa Fe, which Nick also mentioned earlier, like it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's cactus for fucking days around you, and yet that was one of our best turnouts. Like it's because I'm guessing that that venue just put in a shitload of hard work into making sure that that night was good. And I guess from that point of view, like it does make sense to have the venues do their own promotion in a large geographical space. But a place like New Zealand, like the promoter or the headlining band that wants to play the 4 shows, they can just do it, and it makes more sense.
Mm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So after achieving your dream of touring America, where
Mm.
is next on your like where would you want to tour next?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely
Well,
Europe.
Europe,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
No,
and then
Europe's
probably
definitely the one.
yeah, the other sort of curveball which has sort of been entering our sphere at the moment is Japan, because it's relatively easy to get to,
Mm.
and apparently got a really good scene. So I think that would be also something that you could do, like you could do in, you could just do a week, there, which
Yeah.
is obviously less of a commitment than, like, obviously with the US we were there for a month, and same if we go to Europe, like it's probably gonna have to be a month, or like 3 weeks minimum to like at least hit some decent spots. But yeah, UK and Europe. Yeah, if there's any booking agents out there listening, hit us up. Hit us up. We're interested.
I'm sure between me and Metalmance we can put you in touch with some people. So and we would make sure you would get local shows in our respective towns as well. So
Yeah,
I can
excellent.
already think of the perfect venue for you to play down the road from me. So yeah, we'll try and make that happen. So um,
Excellent.
We'd love to play like Obscene Extreme, or we'd love to play early in the day on Hellfest or something, like to get a foot in the door there and build a tour around that. Like just
yeah,
get the festival booking and then book the shows either side of it. We'd
yeah,
love to play Arc Tangent as well. If we could, I think that'd be great. And there's a few other UK festivals that I think that would be really good to hit up. So yeah, I mean,
Tech
if any
Tech
of your
Fest, I
listeners
think.
know, yeah, if any of them know like contacts for the booking agents for any of those places that you think that we might be a good fit for, then yeah, please do get in touch because we're open.
yeah,
100%. I think the UK tour, like the festival scene, there's so many kind of all dayer festivals now or weekender. It's just blown up even more and it's just so healthy at the moment. Even like Damnation, me and Bida went to Damnation last month. That was in November in in Manchester and it was I mean,
yeah,
I'm still suffering, but yeah, it's like all year round. It's like it's not even just like the summer anymore and it's like let's just have more kind of all year round metal festivals, please.
yeah. All metal
Yeah.
all of the time, basically. So yeah, so that is the future. And now, shall we talk about our favorite? 2025. We're coming up to the end of the year. I think it's been a banner year for metal. The beginning of the year, we were sort of progressing, I was like, there's a few bits here and there, but then it's just got better and better as time goes on. Um,
Mm.
I think Nick, was it yourself that's already starting to share your favorite albums this year?
Yeah, well,
Um,
every year I think I've done it for almost 10 years now. Every year I do like top 20 albums of the year. And sort of, so I've got my list locked in and ready. So whoever watches this is going to get a spoiler probably.
what's your highlights? I mean, you don't necessarily need to give away number one, but what's your highlights out of your 20 this year?
um yeah, well, so actually can we do some non-metal stuff? Because there might also be some
Yeah,
metal
Absolutely, yeah, for
adjacent.
sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. All
So
genres are allowed here.
yeah, definitely in my in the top half of the list is the new Perturbator record, which is
Okay, yeah, yeah.
metal adjacent, I
We
guess.
saw it Damnation, and it was
Yeah,
outstanding, absolutely
it
Yeah,
outstanding.
was
So yeah, yeah.
I,
incredible
I've
time.
I sort of was a little bit like the last couple of albums of his. I've sort of haven't been as much of a fan of just because of like the production choice. I used to really love his like heavy synthwave kind of vibe, but he sort of went in a more industrial direction, which I like, but not as much as that. But then this album sort of straddles both really nicely. So I've been cranking that a lot, and there's lots of cool guest spots. There's a song with Author and Punisher, which I love, and the last track with Alcest as well. And another non-metal album that I've been listening to heaps. I was put onto it by one of my classmates at uni, and one of the guys I play poker with is by a band called Geese. And
Okay,
the album's called Getting Killed. And I don't even really know how to
Gotta Google
explain
it.
it. Like, it's there's like sort of touches of Radiohead in there, bit of Violent Femmes kind of stuff. Like, but they're all real young. They're like 23 and just incredible musicians. And it's quite, yeah, I don't even really know how to describe it.
mm,
But yeah, I guess it's like kind of indie rock kind of stuff.
mm, mm.
But yeah, I saw an article saying they're like the most exciting young rock band coming up, and I was like, okay, I guess they are a rock band. But yeah, but yeah, I don't mind spoiling my number one. But my absolute favorite record of this whole year is the new Deaf Heaven, Lonely People with Power. That's like, man, I'll preface this by saying, I never really got into Sunbather. Like Sunbather was not an album that clicked for me at all.
Same. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree.
it was New Bermuda, which was the one that
Also the same. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I was like, holy shit, what is this? This is like happy black metal, you know.
Hmm.
And then I sort of like I sort of liked the ones in between, and then Infinite Granite, I like really enjoyed the departure, but then I think this album just like encapsulates everything they do so well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the song Body Behavior is probably my favorite song of the year across any genre.
I
So
think
that yeah,
they've settled, like you say, I think they've grown into who they should be as a band.
yeah.
I mean, I saw them 3 times this year, which is bonkers.
Oh man,
And they've just settled into, we are a metal band, we play metal, they've got that kind of heavy vibe about them. But I mean, we describe them at Damnation as like transcendental, basically. They just have
yeah,
this
sure.
like ethereal vibe. But
We
yeah,
had a spiritual experience, didn't we, at
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Damnation, where
yeah,
we all just like vibed at the same time,
yeah.
and it was
Absolutely
incredible. I
crushing
think
record that is.
it's the
yeah,
first
and
Def Jam album that I really clicked with. I've always liked them, and I love Black Gaze, and I love that kind of side of black metal. Um, they kind of like passed me by a little bit, but I've really enjoyed this album. Not sure where it placed on my list, but there's so many tracks I return to, and
yeah,
funnily enough, they're not like your classic Black Gaze tracks on the album. There's like I think it is Body Behavior that I'm thinking about. So your favorite song, Nick, but that song is just a completely different vibe, and I
oh
just
yeah,
it's it made it, I remember I was listening to it at work when I was just sorting some bits out, and I remember actually stopping in my tracks and being like, oh boy, and just like kind of letting it
yeah.
wash
It's
over
just so
me, and I
like
just yeah.
there's so many parts on that album that are like majestic and like
Mm.
huge sounding after the like the brutality of like blasting black metal for but yeah, that song just like I've listened to that song over 100 times, and it gives me chills still every time. And it's sort of just a anecdote. I sort of got to know Chris, the bass player from Deaf Heaven, because he came to New Zealand a few times and stayed here to produce the Tuscoma Boys
Oh,
last couple of albums. So I got to, yeah, we got to hang out with Chris in Christchurch when he was recording those Tuscoma albums, and then the last Tuscoma album George from Deaf Heaven did the artwork for as well. So there's a kind of like cool Kiwi connection there as well. And also I found out after the fact that George from Deaf Heaven was actually living in Littleton during COVID, which is wild. Like we had no idea. But yeah, great band, great record. I've never seen them live, so really, really want to tick that one off the list.
Yeah, I imagine they will make their way to your neck of the woods, I would think soon.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think yeah, Deaf Heaven for sure. And any other sort of metal ones that
I love the new Deftones record. That's probably up there for me. And then probably a curveball for me is the Rivers of Nihil album,
yeah,
the
yeah,
self-titled
yeah,
album.
yeah, yeah,
Once again, a band that I sort of always like enjoyed, but I never really clicked with. And then this album, absolutely loved it, even though it's
yeah.
probably the most straightforward metal album, you know. Yeah, that one, and then probably I actually really enjoyed the new Igor album, even though it probably wasn't as experimental as the last
It
couple. It's a
wasn't,
bit more,
yeah, because we've
yeah,
got some crossovers there on our lists for sure. Like the
yeah,
Igor compared to the 2020 album.
mm,
And considering it took yeah 5 years to write, record, release, etc. I was expecting another kind of step up on the experimentation, but it was probably their most straightforward band album.
yeah,
And I wonder if
correct.
they kind of want to try and maybe it's because they want to try and translate that live, and it's not easy to translate, the previous Eagle records.
I think I
I've
just
Um,
seen them
love,
live.
yeah, yeah. I think I just
I
love
saw
as
them live
well
in, yeah, sorry.
with the albums. Every album he puts up like a behind the scenes with all the different
yeah,
instruments they
yeah,
use to
yeah,
make it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just incredible. Like it's so cool to see that kind of creativity still in metal. And I think Maria, we had a conversation about the AI video for the ADHD single, and it's like, there's a lot of chat about AI and creative tools and stuff, but like for that, I felt like that was the perfect use of AI for music like that. I don't know. It was kind of a cognitive dissonance going on in my
Yeah.
brain
If a
about that
band
one.
was ever to use AI, it'd be Eagle because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just makes sense. It just makes
Yeah, for
sense.
sure.
yeah.
But
And probably the only other record that I've been thrashing heaps, probably should have been higher on my list, but I didn't check it out until later, was the new Revocation album.
yeah. Another good one as
Really,
well. Yeah,
really enjoyed it. Like, we toured with those guys around the outer ones around that album, and that's probably my favorite Revo album. But this one definitely, I think, is close to that because yeah,
Mm.
just oh man, Dave Davidson has to be the coolest motherfucker in death metal way. Like,
I
I think
just wanna. Oh, you go ahead, Bedo,
no,
because
no.
then
I
I
was
was going
just
to
going
kind
to
of
say I
move
think
on
it
to the
shows
band.
the quality of this year because we've got so
mm,
many crossovers on our lists, and it just shows actually 25 is a classic year. There doesn't seem to be
yeah,
too much disparity between our lists, basically. So, um,
I'm sure
yeah,
Stace has a
So,
couple
Metalmance,
of curveballs.
yeah,
sorry, I'm still coughing. I was going to say, Nick, I was going to mention one band, and I know Stace is going to roll his eyes, but you've added Mike
There
Patton
we
in
go.
your top 20 this year as well.
Well, I
And it
mean,
goes,
I'm such a Mike Patton fanboy that basically anything he does, I have to appreciate it. I mean, there is some stuff that he has done that I haven't sort of gelled with, but I guess he's been quite quiet for the last couple of years
yeah,
because
he
he obviously
has.
he sort of opened up about how he like suffered from agoraphobia after COVID and cancelled all those tours with Bungle and
Hmm.
Faith No More and stuff. So it was just cool to see him singing again. Not that I expected it to be country music, but you know, yeah, it's
we've got an in joke already on this podcast about Patton's country sort of foray, and we're
yeah,
just like Patton doesn't owe us anything. He can do whatever he likes. It's not. I would call myself a Patton super fan as well. So you got 3 on here, Stace. Apologies.
No,
And
no apologies necessary.
it ain't
You
for
can't
me.
help everyone.
This new one. It ain't for me. So
Yeah, okay. I mean, I've tricked Stace a couple of times, like when we've been driving somewhere. I've like chucked on like angel dust, in the background, and then once like Stace was like, "Hey, what's this?" And I'm like, got him!" Like,
yeah.
So I think it was like malpractice or something.
Yeah,
like
Jizz
one of the
Lobber and
boys.
malpractice
Yeah.
will sort of
And
perk
Stace is
anyone's
like,
ears up.
and I'm like, ha ha ha, like
Nah, they'll
because
get you.
I think it's just at this point, I think it's just a meme that Stace just is like not liking Mike Patton just to wind me up, So, I probably just need to like
Tell
sabotage
yourself
his.
whatever you want, mate. Whatever helps you sleep at night, eh?
I mean, yeah, I just need to give him the Dillinger and Mike Patton EP and just like sabotage it into his whole house, and then hopefully he'll see the light because
You'll find
the
the
one
thing, yeah.
that was the one that cemented it for me. So.
Hijack Stace's AI house assistant.
Yeah. Play Backstreet
It-
Boys. Dillinger starts with Mike Patton.
I have a similar thing with now I know this always upsets you, Nick, but my thing with Sleep Token, not for me, but I know it's on your
Uh,
list. And
well,
something that Carl jokes that even Inner Cardia is going to be my top album of the year, and I'm like, yeah, sure.
well, I mean, I think I mentioned it in my review that it only made the list at number 20 just because of how many times I'd listened to it, pretty much. Because I was trying to find something that I liked in it. I still love the last album. Like, I think the last album was like one of the coolest things I've heard in a long time. But yeah, I'm definitely off the bandwagon now. Uh, I think like I'd go see them live for sure, but like I'm really curious to see where they go from here because, yeah, I don't know, it just felt really rushed, and while there were like a couple of cool moments, it just didn't vibe with me at all.
It still made number 20.
Yeah.
So Stace, what's been sort of filling your ears with joy in 2025 from an album sense?
Well, okay, I've got a few curveballs here, I guess, because they don't meet the full criteria. I've been really enjoying Emma Hana, who is this like singer-songwriter from the middle of fucking nowhere in the United States, and she sort of got big on TikTok, and she's part of what she calls the like math folk scene, where she's just started doing singer-songwriter stuff, but it's generally in like odd meters and it's quite cleverly done. And I really like her voice, and she's a brilliant guitarist. So just watching her play acoustic guitar in her bedroom, like with the sun coming in the window, like I've been really enjoying that. And she brought out an EP this year called "Taking My Side." And I've thrashed that EP a lot this year, and that's a bit of a curveball for me because it's not my bread and butter usually, but something about her just caught my attention. You already covered Igor. I was going to mention Igor's album, Amen. Like that record's fucking sick. I love that. And I will also mention An Abstract Illusion, The Sleeping City. We listened to that record like I think the day it came out when we were touring around the States, and that album start to finish is a masterpiece. Like that album is brilliant. So if you haven't checked out An Abstract Illusion, you got to. And the guys in the album in the band are really really supportive of Blindfolded too. Like they've always shared our stuff. They've always like left positive comments for us because I sort of felt like maybe we were in similar places of our career. You've got a couple of albums out and you're just breaking out onto the sort of international scene, and so I guess we recognize that brotherhood in each other. So now they're really really good guys, and they've dropped one of the coolest albums this year for sure. And the other thing I wanted to mention that doesn't really fit your criteria either because the album's actually not out yet, but Carnival have got a couple of singles out now.
Yeah.
Is it 3 singles out, Nick? Is that correct?
Well,
Yeah, 3
technically
singles.
4, I think, because of All It Takes from a couple of years ago, which is going to be on the album. So
Yeah. So I mean, they've got like 3, 4 songs out of the record, and I think it comes out in January or February or something. That's one of my most anticipated albums because the singles absolutely fuck. They are excellent. So I'm definitely keen for that record to come out. I'm a big fan of Carnival.
That album has been a long time coming.
Yeah, yeah, it has been. Yeah.
A long time coming. And it's interesting what you say about Abstract Illusion because I've noticed that they're getting mentioned more and more on social media and good for them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And I really feel like kind of your genre of metal, like tech metal, is really strong at the minute.
Mm.
And
Yep.
and it's just I think like you said, you guys are just all so supportive of each other. And yeah, I feel like tech metal is in a really, really strong place. Beardo,
So
any other
just on
comments?
that,
Oh yeah, go carry on.
yeah, just on that, when you mentioned before about how you noticed that, we're always sharing other bands' releases and tours and things like that. That's actually Stu looks after our social media, like that's his other main big job in the band, which is a huge job, and I'm so glad that he doesn't
Mm.
because I could not deal. Um, but he he makes a concerted effort to share like all the local band stuff, everything happening in New Zealand and other big tours going on. He always shares that stuff to sort of feed back into that sort of the scene is only alive as much as we all put into it. If we're all
Mm.
pouring into it like some effort, then that's what sort of keeps it alive. And I think he understands that quite well. When we share the successes of other bands, then hopefully that will come back to us in a way. And it also makes, it helps us because people see us as a band that actually cares about other people. And I think that's important as well. Like, we're not just selfish on our own little path. Like, this is all about us and we don't give a fuck about anyone else. No, that's not who we are as people. So I did just want to mention that because you mentioned it earlier.
That's how the
Yeah.
scene gets created. And
Yeah.
in the world we live in at the moment, just sharing music via social media is that how you get that momentum.
Yep.
I think Metalmance, that's why you and I do our little Instagram pages and stuff like that, and that's why we've done this as well, is to share the music and
Contribute.
to build the
And
scenes.
and it's really clear like when musicians really care about music and the scene and are music fans themselves because when we get guests on here we're all just chatting about music and what we love and it's clear when kind of musicians are music fans or not if it makes sense um
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
but Beardo, any other comments on the list? What would you add? I know your face. I saw your face light up when Nick mentioned Author and Punisher.
Author and Punisher's new records is absolutely outstanding. I
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
now I don't know why. Like I love industrial and I love industrial metal, but for some reason I never sat down and listened to Author and Punisher. And then I just heard the singles on this record, and yeah, just the whole album just completely blew me away. Annoyingly though, the name escapes me, so I'm gonna have to.
not Nocturnal Birding, wasn't
Nocturnal
it?
Birding, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's too much metal to retain all the names in there. And yeah, so got to see them at Damnation, which was
Yeah.
awesome. Um,
We were
I
we
really
were
like.
actually we were lucky enough to see Author and Punisher open for Tool in 2020 in New Zealand,
Oh, Ace,
just
yeah,
like
yeah,
2 weeks before the whole world went into lockdown,
yeah, yeah,
basically.
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, Author and Punisher on like a stadium arena, like that shit was like rattling my sternum. Like
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was absolutely wild.
And I no disrespect to an average Tool fan, but I imagine that would have been quite new to a lot of those guys at a stadium level
Oh,
to hear that kind of like crushing, pure crushing industrial.
it was
Um,
kind of random because I think it was like 6 months before that I first heard Beastland,
mm,
which is probably
mm,
my favorite record of theirs, and
mm.
then also saw the little Vice documentary.
Okay,
That I don't know if you've seen that, but that's worth a watch.
I've
It's
not.
only
No, no.
it's like 10 minutes or something, but it's just follows the guy, how he makes his instruments, and
yeah.
It's awesome.
It's amazing what he does, and to see
Yeah.
it live, is just absolutely outstanding. He's got the guitarist who was in A Life Once Lost and Ecstatic Vision. So I've been like, I was a big fan of like A Life Once Lost and Ecstatic Vision, and you could hear his guitar style within Author and Punisher's stuff. And
is it just him and the guitarist? Is that what it is now?
Yeah.
Because when we saw him,
yes.
it was just him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's him and the guitarist.
Right.
Yeah, it's really sort of elevated that sort of sound.
Yeah, cool.
And then I think probably if I was, it's going to be a toss up. I think even towards the end of the year about what the number one will be, but Dead Guys near death travel services. Because that was a complete surprise. Like they literally just, I think they said about 4 weeks before its release, they're like, oh, by the way, we're doing a new album. And I sort of was able to get into Dead Guy quite early on in like the early 2000s, but at that point they'd been split up. And then when they reformed, and again played at Damnation a couple of years ago and got to see them do Fixation of a Coworker live, and then to just drop a new album, 30-year time span, and just go, all right, we're back, as if we've not been away. So yeah, absolutely love that record.
It's kind of weird because they're one of those bands, right? They're like, all my favorite bands say that they're like the band they used to look up to.
That's right. That's right.
But I've never really given them the time of day to actually check it out, So
I would thoroughly recommend it. Yeah. And I think one that's going to come up on a lot of kind of death metal end of year list is we've been practicing how to say Sangue Sugar Bog. Yeah.
I call them snug as a bug in a rug. So
yeah. And that record is just an absolute step up from everything that's gone before. They've just crystallized their sound, their songwriting. Like it feels a lot more weighty and less tongue in cheek. And they've got that industrial vibe. There's that song that basically sounds like death metal Godflesh, which I just couldn't get enough of. But I
need to give that more of a chance. That band is once again another band that's just never clicked for me,
I think you'll like this new album is right. If you're going to click with the new one, it's less, because like I said before on another episode, I kind of listened to the other albums ironically, more like this is so silly.
Whereas this album sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of vibe, the old stuff, but now and I'm a bit like, are they going to regret their name now that they're sort of,
no, because it's all publicity. It's good publicity, isn't it? It's just like, how do you say a name? It's like, their logo's so silly, but their logo is also so recognizable.
They're playing in New Zealand soon, I think. Yeah, I think so. They're playing New Zealand. They're playing New Zealand in a couple months.
Because Organectomy also from Christchurch here, and they're best mates pretty much here, and I feel like we should maybe give a bit of a shout out to them, because they were so amazing at hooking us up with information about touring the United States, because they've sort of like walked so we could run, so to speak, if you know what I mean. Like, they've done it a few times now, and so they really helped us out on that stuff. But I'm pretty sure they have toured with Sangue Sugar Bog, and they have nothing but great things to say about them as guys and as musicians and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding record. I've not seen them live yet, so yeah, would hope to get to see them. So Metalmance, what's your recommendations for the year?
I've had a real mixed bag this year, and I've just been so busy, like other things going on, but there's so much I still need to catch up on. But yeah, it's been a mixed bag. The start of the year was so strong, like Dormant Ordeal.
That's on my sort of long list. Dormant Ordeal for sure.
the Polish death metal duo that has like kind of early Decapitated vibes and just kind of that really groovy yet gritty death metal that I love. And as we've talked about it before, like the fewer band members, the better.
Mm,
The
mm.
duo, incredible. Really enjoyed the new Coffin Feeder, Sven from Aborted.
Yeah.
Um, but I've actually, I don't know if I'm just mellowing out in my old age, but I found that I've had quite a mainstream year. Um, I mean, I love Lacuna Call anyway, but oh, they just get better. They just get better with every album, and their album this year so heavy. So Christina's still just absolutely like sublime, just as a vocalist. So I really enjoyed that one. That's gonna be quite high on my list, and I don't know why, but I'm always surprised by how good they are. They've been doing it a long time. Then not sure where it'll place, but not my cough. My damnation cough. Um, I've I've really loved the new Baby Metal. I've really loved the guest
Oh
spots on
yeah.
that. It's a good one to just kind of pop in the car and jam to. Loved it. But yeah, another surprise for me is the new Employ to Serve. They've just really stepped it up this year. And the kind of more melodic spin. They do it in their own way. Um, yeah, every song's a banger, and that's been a real surprise for me how high that's gonna be up my list. Um, The Bog, Snug as a Bug in
Mm.
a Rug. Um,
Yeah.
but for me, I think my top album of the year is one that's really only just come out, and it's by a Danish prog metal band called Feather Mountain. And I don't know if it's just because I listened to the promo on the way on the train back from Damnation, and Damnation it was a very heavy one this year, wasn't
Mm,
it? There was
mm.
like not really a lot of melodic stuff. It was just constant blast beats all weekend, and I don't know if I just timed that well with listening to the promo of this album, but like the melodic just kind of like really hit me. And there's one song called Prayer Wall which it just completely changed my whole year. And I hadn't I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm feeling kind of I feel like I have fewer connections as I get older. Like, when you really connect with an album and you
Mm,
just
mm,
thoroughly love every fiber of it and it really
mm.
speaks to your soul. I'm feeling that less and less as time goes on. But yeah, for me, Feather Mountain just hit my soul this year. So that's an experience. And I think that they're unsigned, so they released that independently. Um, so that's a really good album if you kind of like the whole Tesseract, distorted harmony kind of side of melodic prog. And then of course Blindfolded's album, and just guys, just again, just amazing. I still think Compulsion is my favorite song. That was such a good choice as lead single. Really love the kind of hardcore feel to that song. It was just the whole album's no nonsense, and it definitely took a couple of spins to kind of really get into it. But when it hits you, and you can tell that you've been doing this a long time, but you're so comfortable with your sound and you're getting so confident in your sound as well, and kind of being really experimental has really paid off because it just feels so sincere. And as much as I love tech metal, sometimes I have a real disconnect to it because sometimes I listen to a band and I'm like, well, I feel like just being technical for the sake of it. It's not making me feel anything. But the reason why I love, Blindfolded so much is because like your music really makes me feel something. And yeah, this album just brilliant, just a whole other level to your previous stuff. And I people really need to kind of spend the time with it to really appreciate it. And just hearing a little nugget about the whole protagonist thing, I'm like, okay, cool, another reason to
Yeah,
go
I'm going to
back and
go
give
back
it
to
another
listen
good
to it
listen.
today for sure. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
been a good year.
It's
Mm,
kind of
mm.
But
interesting
yeah.
just hearing that. I mean, thanks for the kind words. But the
Yeah, thank
like
you.
lots of like reviews I've noticed have started like referring to this 3 album run like as like Nightmare, Withdrawals, Rejecting, and
Mm.
this is like sort of like a like that's the end of a cycle kind of thing. So I'm like,
Okay.
fuck, we got some pressure now to like do whatever we do next, you know. How are we gonna top that? But yeah, I
That
mean, we
kind of
always
makes sense because you've had a
yeah.
few lineup changes as well. So I guess like your next album, if everything remains as it is, then that will be like it really solidified and yeah, good year.
Yeah. So just conscious of the light disappearing in New Zealand and
Oh,
the start of our day. I think let's wrap it up here. So I
yeah,
just want to say thank you so much for joining us and talking about your tour and the album. You guys have had a heck of a 2025, I'm sure.
yeah.
You know, and lovely to meet you both for me.
Yep.
So what's any sort of last words for 25 and ahead for 26?
I'll just say quickly that thank you so much to the both of you for having us on. Again, it's you guys contributing this sort of content and these discussions, which helps keep the scene alive. So no, we're honoured to be a part of it,
Oh,
and
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you for listening to our record and for reviewing it honestly and telling us your feedback, and that gives us drive to go on, and maybe we'll pull out another one in the next couple of years.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
pretty much what Stace said. I echo the sentiment. I am just a little bit surprised, Maria, that you when we met up in the UK earlier this year, you told me that your record of the year was probably going to be the new Crippling Alcoholism.
Oh, I
Yeah.
we completely forgot. I think honestly,
It's
I
their
think
fault
it's
because
since
they cancelled their tour.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I knew there was another band. Honestly, since they cancelled their Damnation, that I've just. Oh
Forgotten
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
about them.
enough. Cam girl.
Because I actually
Honest-
went in. I'd like listened to the last one, and I was like, oh yeah, it's all right. But yeah, I've listened to the new one a bunch, and I'm enjoying it. I'm still like finding it a little bit tricky to get into bits of it, but it's cool.
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I can't believe Beardo we completely missed that out. But
Yeah,
then I just feel like when they cancelled their Damnation appearance, because they were the main pull, weren't we? I think that's the
To
biggest
be
disappointment
fair,
of the year.
it is a great record. It is a great record, and it is definitely gonna be on my list for sure.
I
But
think
yeah,
Bed Rot is my song of the year.
oh yeah, yeah. Apart from that, yeah, just thanks for having us on. But yeah, hopefully we can do this in person. In the next, I don't know, 12 to 18 months somewhere,
Yeah.
depending on
Let's
how
do
many.
it.
Depending how many promoters and booking agents get in touch with us after this interview. So.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely put some feelers out for you.
Thank
Nice.
you. Appreciate
All right,
it.
gents. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank you very
us,
much.
Thank you.
and thanks everybody in YouTube land for listening. And we will catch you on the next one. Ta-ta.
Yeah, have a great day. See you
Cheers.
later.
See ya.
Pod Destroyer is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Metalmance and Beardodoom are not trained professionals, and as such, it is positively encouraged to try this at home.